I've been giving this talk to friends. You know, I've had people over to my house, like about 25 people in this room have been in my house on my couch listening to this talk. Recently I gave it up in Damerscott for 2 people. And one of them was a brilliant stage director. And another one was a stage hand. Just getting into college now, she wants to be a stage manager full-time. And they wanted to share their waltz turn story. So that the director, who was about my age, 55, his story when his life was changed, he was 12, and he went to see the Broadway production of Fiddler on the Roof. And I think Zero Mostel was playing Tevye. So here was this stage director, his name is Griff. Griff was sitting on the front row, and this actor got up and was delivering his lines with such power and such passion that he spat on Griff. You know, and this is the private learning. Griff said, what really struck me was, here's this guy, he just spat on me. And he doesn't care. 12 years old, and he's putting those 2 incongruous things together, and it means something to him. What is the worst thing when you're 12? You spit on somebody by mistake. But he doesn't care. Indicating a higher state of being, where you get so involved in what you're doing that who you are doesn't exist anymore. You know, it's this moment. I love that story. And the more I think about it, the more miraculous it is that at 12 years old, we can put the pieces together and make sense and find our inspiration. Tish, the stagehand, wanted to share her story. Interesting, they both knew. Oh yeah, that's it, that's my story. She was holding up a wall off stage during a production of Les Miserables, and the audience reaction to what was going on stage. Here she is holding up the wall. Nobody's even looking at her. I'm going to do this forever. It was hearing that reaction. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to unpack is how precious this art standard is. And I really didn't even know about it until I met my late husband, Tony Montanaro. Tony and I had met through the Portland Ballet. And, you know, here I had been a professional ballet dancer. I toured the world. I performed at Jacob's Pillow and Brooklyn Academy of Music and the Spoleto Festival. And I, did Balanchine ballets. I was really kind of high up in the dance world. I had never experienced theater the way I did when I saw Tony perform for the first time. I had always gone to the theater because I thought it was, my duty to God and my country. To be cultured and to be able to talk kind of like you know what you're talking about. But I saw Tony perform at a little theater called the Theater of Fantasy. He got so many people thinking that was a totally different kind of theater. But I went to see this performance, and he was 60 years old at the time. I was 27. There was a 34-year age difference. And I went to this performance, a little tiny theater, 80 seats, and I sat there and I watched this 60-year-old man. He was going through a divorce. He wasn't really happy in his life. His belly was sticking out. You could see his jockstrap. He was growing his hair long, 60 years old, No, he really didn't look good. But when he started moving, and when he started talking, as soon as he got out there, it was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Again, it was that art standard, these goosebumps. The goosebumps precede the learning. The tears precede the learning. You know, these moments where, oh my gosh, what is this doing to me, and why? And I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and he was doing nothing. I mean, I'd been used to guys going up like this and going 1, 2, 3, boom, you know, and dancers going like this, and Tony got out and going. Empathy. When he went like this, we all went like that. We all became the fat cowboy. The cowboy who, you know, he's got to teach the old young whippersnapper a thing or two. So, all right, I'll put my guns on again. Then he starts doing all these tricks. I could not believe he went like this, okay? This was the thing that got me. And he goes, I can't do it as well as he did, I'm so sorry. But he goes, oh. That was the beginning of me coming back to life. After this, you know, that my comfort zone had shrunk so much that it was life-threatening. It really was. I didn't know I had everything the world tells you need. I had a great job. I had lots of friends. I was making a lot of money. I was skinny. And I had no passion. I just didn't know what was going on. I went to see this performance. I went up to him afterwards, I said, I have to know what you're doing. I have to know what you're doing. He said, will you marry me? Actually, he had already proposed before. He proposed the second time we were ever in the same room. And I was 27. I was a ballet dancer. I was inexperienced in all ways, except ballet. And about 10 months later, we got married. And I toured with him. We went all over the world. I taught with him. In the beginning, I didn't teach with him. In fact, I sat off to the side and I took notes because it was scary. He was teaching how to strengthen and repair this badly neglected wing. And it was scary. But I was watching him teach this, and I was watching the students go from being kind of stupid, oh gosh, that's stupid, that's embarrassing, I'll never do that, to they were and that's when 5 years later, when I saw what was starting to happen with these very average people turning into stars, I said, okay, that's it. I'm not Tony's wife. Forget the status trip. I'm going to be his student, and I'm going to get up, and I'm going to fail as often and as blatantly as I can. And in 2 weeks, I wrote my first mime. And you don't fail. You don't fail when you can't fail. You know, just get up there. See what happens to you. What happens to you when you have to spout out a poem that comes off the top of your head, and then you have to make it rhyme, and then you have to dance with it. Then that starts getting strong. But meanwhile, you listen to Horowitz, read great poetry, watch great movies, talk to people about why you're crying. If you see somebody cry, ask them why. Does anybody cry watching opera? Really? I need to talk to you. opera is the one thing I just haven't really gotten into yet. It's so long. But in a way, yes, I want to know opera, but I mainly want to know I want to watch those people who really get it. And find out, like Moonstruck, that movie I just saw recently, that spoke to me about opera.